There is a threat to Rishi Sunak's office. Someone from within the Prime Minister's own party is coming for his seat. Guess who? I'm talking about Boris Johnson. He was the Prime Minister not too long ago, and now he wants his office back. What is he doing now to enter 10 Downing Street? Well, he is slamming Rishi Sunak. A few days ago, he proposed a revised deal for Northern Ireland, the Windsor framework, but his hopes to deal with the Brexit infighting suffered a massive blow. The former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has openly come out against that plan. In fact, he argues it would stifle the UK economically. Listen in first to what he had to say.
Get to the punchline. I'm going to find it very difficult to vote for something myself, something like this myself, because I believed that we should have done something different. No matter how much plaster came off the ceiling in Brussels. And I hope that it will work. And I also hope that if it doesn't work, we will have the guts to deploy that bill again.
Now, Johnson's opposition was expected. All of this should not be surprising you. And let me tell you why. Remember, it was Sunak's exit that triggered the domino effect, which ultimately led to the collapse of the Boris Johnson government. Sunak, the Chancellor of the Exchequer under Johnson, on the 5th of July, he walked into 10 Downing Street and offered his resignation to Johnson. And soon, Sajid Javid, who was then the Health Secretary, offered to step down. And the rest, as they say, is history. So clearly, there are scores to be settled there. But you see, Johnson will not be the first ex-Prime Minister to criticize Rishi Sunak's leadership. You must remember her, Liz Truss, the Prime Minister who Sunak succeeded. Not too long ago, Truss had slammed Sunak's economic plans. He criticized his tax policies, called them detrimental. This was after her own mini-budget had failed miserably and paved the way for her ouster. It's not only the men, women, but also the countrymen who seem to have distaste for Rishi Sunak. While some attack his decisions and policies, others make the battle personal, even targeting his teacups. When Sunak was being seen as a strong contender for premiership, a couple of journalists stationed themselves outside his house for hours as a gesture of hospitality. Sunak's wife, Akshata Murthy, treated them with a tray of tea and biscuits. Little did she know this would bite her back. The expensive cups caught everyone's attention. Their maker, Emma Lacey, confirmed on Twitter that each mug was worth over $45. Sure, this episode is more than half a year old now, but things have not really become better for Sunak ever since. While he does have the office of the Prime Minister, the question that's often asked is whether the party's clear mandate has come under the scanner and the trust to sustain the leadership. Questions being raised over that as well. Also, what happens if Sunak also is forced to exit 10 Downing Street? He will be the 5th British Prime Minister to leave office in 7 years. He was also the 3rd one within 2 months last year. You see, the UK government has been a mess lately. Ever since the Brexit vote, the British Prime Minister's office has become a revolving door of sorts. Just before the 2020 vote, then Prime Minister Theresa May had stepped down. Boris Johnson took over. He resigned in 2022. And then came Liz Truss. She also was ousted, leading to Rishi Sunak's rise to the prime ministerial post. And now no one knows how long Rishi Sunak will last. What was all this for? Brexit? Post-Brexit policies? Because 3 years since the vote, things seem to have only gone from bad to worse. Economically, post-Brexit Britain has not quite performed as it was expected to. What really was the point? Well, let me tell you, it was supposed to give the UK control over its economy, over its trade. It had certain goals and economic targets. The Conservative manifesto reflected ambitions that post-Brexit Britain would be free to strike trade agreements all over the world. It had a goal to seal deals with the rest of the world, covering 80% of its trade. Did the country achieve this? As of December 2022, it was set to miss the mark. It made deals covering just over 60% of its global trade. But what Brexit did achieve was political turmoil in the country, and it still continues to do that. Britain is a royal mess. It is one step away from getting its 6th Prime Minister in 7 years. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.